You guys remember that video about Vayne dealing more damage than intended? Well, it turns out that Ezreal has a similar issue, except it's about 10 times worse, and it could even have some serious implications for the World Championship qualifiers. Even though this bug has already surfaced a few patches ago, it has gone unnoticed by the player base for the most part. So what exactly is going on? Well, to put it short, Ezreal is capable of casting his ability, then fire his quick draw projectile, then his ability again, and then his quick draw again, all in a single cast. This is absolutely nuts if you think about it. And you know what's the worst part? It can be manipulated. The condition for this bug is extremely simple. Ezreal has to fire his ability on his current attack target who's in melee range. If the damage is enough to kill his main target, then it will proc the following interaction. He looks for a new target to fire his quick draw projectile. This is followed by the damage part of his ability and quick draw again. Just in case you were wondering, this bug does not require the quick draw trait to work. The only condition is for him to finish off his main target that is in melee range. Afterwards, he will do a double cast towards his next target. Now this already sounds super broken, but what if I tell you this is about to become even worse? If he is about to cast on a unit that just died, he can double cast on his next target as well. This bug is a bit different from the one that I just talked about. In fact, it is the exact same one as the Vayne interaction, except it's a lot more AoE damage and you can easily annihilate the enemy frontline. So I mentioned that you could manipulate this bug, but you might be wondering how. Well, technically the simple solution here would be to just put him in the first row and hope for the best that he can one-shot the enemy frontline. But I would say a much more elegant solution here is to use the hacker trait. If we transport Ezreal to the enemy backline, he will now attack the closest enemy, putting him into melee range at the beginning of the fight. This trait just keeps on giving. With this setup, you can potentially one-shot the entire enemy backline at the beginning of the fight. Now I know this sounds rough, and players are already starting to abuse hacker Ezreal, so let's take a few moments to discuss what you can do against this. First of all, ZZ Rod might be a pretty good idea. Ezreal can only double cast if his auto attack target dies. It does not work if he kills a unit with his ability while attacking someone else. The next step might be to position in a way that makes sure that your backline is at least one hex away from Ezreal. For example, units like Annie are pretty good at dealing with him since she can tank his ability and she will also never run into melee range. If you guys have any more suggestions on how to counter this strategy, I would love to hear about it in the comments. I hope you learned something and see you next time.